Welcome to ET with GOTB at Euro 2025 Match Day 2. Let's get into it. I'm Rachel.
I'm Sophie.
And this is Extra Time with Girls on the Ball. We are coming to you again from a car park. As I've said, this is not guaranteed every time because we're not going to find parking in a car park every time. But we've managed to do it.
I'm quite enjoying our tour of the car park so far. I know there's been only 2, but we've had a few more car parks actually.
I found it quite stressful because
we should do some rate the car parks.
It's hot, it's loud, there were men shouting down there and we had to move. So this one's down in the estimations compared to yesterday. Okay, we're going to crack on with day 2. Lots has happened. Less hot, which was good. Still hot, but less hot.
Yeah, breezy.
Yes.
There was a bit of a rain in the air, not that it rained, but it felt fresher.
It did, compared to yesterday, which was just absolutely horrendous. A more straightforward day for both of us today. We were able to travel together to Bern, the capital, of course, to catch Group B. The game we were covering today was Spain versus Portugal, but of course you were writing for The Guardian beforehand, and you were doing the game that I've just completely forgotten, Italy, Belgium. So we had to get here early.
Yep.
Make sure we got A, car parking space, and B, we're able to watch the games you could ride for it.
Yep, definitely. But we did make a trip to the fan zone.
We did.
Brief trip. We went to have a wander around. That's what was going on. Some nice fountains that some children were playing in.
We drove around Bern a little bit, kind of unintentionally, but
to be 4 years older again and just go and play in the fountains in the middle of the square.
4 years old. If that had been yesterday, I'd have been in there like swimwear, without hesitation. It was, the heat absolutely killed me yesterday. But yes, we had a little bit of time to check out Bern. I would like to think we'll have more time to do that as the tournament goes on.
I forgot about our food.
Oh my God, our food. We got food this time. We decided rather than getting it in the media centre, we would buy it in the fan zone. And we brought some gyros with us. I had a halloumi gyros and you had a pulled chicken. Yeah. So that was absolutely delicious. You're going to hear some banging now. There's some fellow media people packing up their cars. But we are going to get onto the games. We're going to start with Belgium, Italy, which ended 1-0 to Italy. Caruso getting the goal. Great name. Very good goal scorers generally with that name. Not biased in any way, shape or form. This is Italy's first time winning an opening game in a Euros since they beat England in 2009. That's wild, isn't it?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a start.
I hope that's true because I plucked that from the television.
That was off the television.
Okay.
So I think you're fine. It was a good game. Lovely setting.
Oh, Sion.
I can't wait to go to Sion.
Beautiful.
The Alps are just literally above the stadium, and you just the camera kept panning to the scenery behind it. It just looked amazing. So can't wait to be there. But yeah,
tight game. Probably as expected. I think we probably picked these two for second place. We were kind of hoping that Italy were going to be the ones going through, and at the moment they've gotten the 3 points, but it was very tight. Belgium were good in the first half, comfortable in the first half, probably edged the first half, I thought. But Italy maybe created the more, but Belgium always looked comfortable.
Belgium had the possession. They had chances, but they weren't getting very many of them to target. They looked at their best, as they always do when they're counter-attacking and kind of pressing Italy, winning the ball back and then hitting them at pace. And that's where they looked at their strongest. But yeah, they didn't really have anything that really cut through of any such. Tessa Verlotte had a shot that she dragged wide, which you would normally put your money on her to score. I think there was also a chance for Jill Janssens. She was played through by Van Hevermaet, and that was, she skied it over the bar. So that was unfortunate for them. But while Italy created the same amount of chances, they got more on target, and they did look the more quality in front of the goal. And then as Caruso got more into it, she really started to pull the strings in that midfield and linking the midfield to the attack area.
And it was a lovely goal as well, a minute before half-time, which I think is a good time to score it.
Perfect timing, perfect mood. Caruso dropped deep to pick up the ball. She sent it out, and then she ran onto the return ball, really cutting path. And Belgium had been really, really well organised, but I think they got really freaked out by Caruso dropping deep, and they didn't really know what to do, and it suddenly opened up that space for her to drift into, and then she produced that really lovely swerving finish.
I do find, and we've spoken about often expecting more from Italy, and I don't know whether it's at major tournaments, and I'm going to let these fellow media people drive by us here, at major tournaments sometimes they just kind of become a little bit sloppy or a little bit kind of tentative or passive, do you know, that kind of way, and you just need a little bit more of that passion in that fight, and like the shots are just a little bit soft, and you know the tackles might be a little bit soft. You're just like, get a bit of grit in it, and that's almost like what's missing from Italy sometimes. But the main thing is they got the win today.
I think they've come on so far though in the last 2 years, since the kind of disappointing World Cup. And yes, maybe they weren't at their full-flown best today, but they showed signs of what they can be. And I think more than anything, it's keeping it tight at the back as well, not giving up too many clear-cut opportunities. Yeah, there's always going to be a few, but you know you can keep it tight at the back, and you've got the kind of creative players to start linking up together. And you know, as the tournament goes on, as they get into their groove, they'll start finding each other more and finding those passes. There was a really nice move in the second half, and Girelli almost scored the perfect back heel goal, but for an instinctive save from the Belgian goalkeeper, and it would have been an absolutely perfect goal.
To be fair to Italy as well, they did have multiple opportunities near the end to really kind of confirm those 3 points and make us all not stress as we got to the end. You particularly, after writing a match report, like the last thing you need is a goal in injury time.
At 70 minutes, I was like, this game is finishing 1-0, and I don't care what happens.
That's
so
it.
I wrote my whole report as a 1-0.
If it's fake news, it's fake news. It was happening. It was 1-0.
It never happened. If anyone scored an extra time, it wasn't happening.
Main thing is, Italy got the 3 points, which is important, particularly in this group, particularly with Spain cooking tonight. It's definitely the race for second place, I think.
Yeah, they needed the 3 points.
Yeah.
And they'll think, I mean, having watched Portugal, which we'll get onto later tonight, they'll think they can get something out of that game that puts them in kind of the first kind of place to get that second.
The first
spot.
place to get second. So we're going to come on to Portugal later tonight, which is now. That is the other game, obviously, that we did here in Bern in the Wankdorf Stadium, most ridiculous named stadium, and also it absolutely stinks. It smelled like hot rubbish or like fish where I was sitting
I
for the
don't know
whole
where
game.
you were sitting because it was absolutely fine where I was.
If we're at the stadium again, please remind me to sit the other end to see if it's any different, because it was borderline making me gag. It was horrendous. So silly name, smelly stadium. Didn't have a nice view around it like Sion, but there's my review of Wankdorf, and it smelled like smoke when you went inside. So good times, but it was pretty much full. It was pretty much full, which was cool.
Yes.
And it was a record crowd for a game at a Euros not involving the host.
Oh wow.
So
yeah, I think it was like 300 below capacity. So,
28,500.
yeah, incredible crowd, great crowd. They were really into it. There was a really good, strong Portugal supporting contingent behind the far goal,
and
they had their flags out, the drums.
They had a lovely banner that they put up at the end for Diogo Jota as well, and his brother, who tragically passed away in a car crash today, which, you know, I think has absolutely stunned the football world and beyond, particularly with Portugal playing today, and there was a minute silence as well, and you could kind of feel that from the crowd as well, and they sang his chant at the end of the minute silence, and at the end they had that banner pulled out, and the team got a picture with it as well, which was pretty moving. But the game ultimately absolutely dominated by Spain, as we expected. It ended 5-0. Gonzalez with 2 goals, Mateus Lopez and Martin Prieto with the goals. They're 4-0 by half-time. They scored 2 goals in 2 minutes, or 2 goals in 5 minutes in the first half.
Yes.
2-minute goal, 7-minute goal.
Yeah.
Like it was blink and you miss it almost. Suddenly Spain were 2 goals ahead. And then they did 2 goals in 2 minutes towards
3 minutes, yeah.
It was ridiculous.
It was basically like hitting your opponent while they're down and while they're mentally not quite there or quite recovered from conceding and just going for the jugular. I think the first goal really emphasised how much maybe Spain have diversified a little bit in recent years. I think having a forward like Esther Gonzalez is really, really apparent to being able to play. Yes, she can play the silky, passy stuff, but like being able to have that kind of outlet as well, where you can hit a front runner.
They can hit long balls now.
Like that was the first goal. Olga Comando's long ball into the feet, in the air for Esther Gonzalez. It was a great takedown and a really, really deft finish, and it just showed that they've had added that kind of different dimension. I think to
another element, which is what
before
everyone wants to see.
Like playing false nines or strikers that weren't really strikers. They kept trying Salma in the striking role. I don't think she's a number 9. Now they've got players you can hit them up front and be a bit more direct when you need to be. So that might be a bit scary for some opposition. It
was very much one-way traffic for the opening kind of 25-30 minutes. Portugal could barely get out of their own half. When they did, they were offside more often than not, and it was quite frustrating because they lacked any real discipline defensively, and we've talked about this before about playing a team who are possession based, a team like Spain, and they just need a little bit more maturity about them. I know you want to play a style of football, but you can't do that against Spain, and there was just no kind of discipline in defence, and there was so much ball watching, which was
that's the frustrating thing, right? Is that Spain aren't new opposition to them. They've played them twice in the last 6 months, and they've conceded 10 goals, 11 goals to them in the last 6 months. So this again didn't really show much development or learning there in terms of learning how to be more compact against a team like Spain, who will rotate in the central areas. They will pass you out of into oblivion. Like they will just keep going at you, and you need to be more structurally sound to be able to compete against them and be tougher against them and get your foot in, get stuck in. And I know that's not the way Portugal want to play.
I know, but you need to be tactically smart when you're playing
Yeah.
against teams like that. And if you think you can go and try and play your style against Spain, when you're not a team stacked with absolutely top world class players playing in the top clubs and all around the world, I should say, in the way that Spain are, you need to be tactically smarter. And I think that's quite a concern that Portugal haven't really shown an adaptability or a learning. And I think that's concern, particularly for managers being there for a very long time. And it does feel a little bit like Portugal have gone backwards this year.
Yes, I think they started the year really brightly. They got that draw against England and then a win against Belgium in February. And then they just kind of lost the plot a bit and they just went downhill. They faced Spain twice back to back. That kind of killed them. They got them, they conceded, I think, 4 in the first game, 7 in the second game. And they went and played, England and Belgium and conceded 6 and 3. And when you're adding it up now, they've conceded like 24, 25 goals in the space of 5 games. That's not good enough for an elite defence at this level of tournament. You have to be better.
Yeah.
And it's surprising for a team like Portugal because they aren't the newbies in the group. They've had major tournament experience and they haven't learned from that. I know Euro 2022, they were kind of the surprise outlet. They caused people problems because people weren't prepared, really, because they came into the tournament late.
Yeah.
People hadn't quite prepared for them. I think they were had a bit of the unknown about them and they hit them pretty well, but defensively they're just shocking.
Otherwise, Spain are obviously superb. Didn't even have their top lineup. Paredes was suspended. Obviously, Bonmati was out, but she was well enough to be named on the bench. Catacol wasn't playing because she was ill with tonsillitis. So they weren't even playing their best team, and still they were comfortable pretty much at all times.
Can I give a shout out?
You can.
Are you about to talk about her?
Go on. Ruin my
Vicky
running
Lopez.
order.
Sorry, I'm ruining your running order. But I think, when Aitana Bonmati comes out to a midfield, you expect there to be a hole with the quality of player that she is. And you're always going to miss her. But I think Vicky Lopez stepped in today and really showed what she's about. She played beyond her years. She was absolutely superb alongside Alexia, who was superb herself. But yeah, she was absolutely superb. She was running the show in that partnership in midfield, and she got her goal as well, which is superb on her first senior start for her country. She's shown what she can do at the youth levels. Barcelona are really, really excited about her. I mean, everyone's really excited about her.
Understandably.
For her to break out in the first game of this tournament, and I think this could be her tournament.
And what's really great was that Aitana Bonmati didn't even get a full rest. Obviously, they were worried she might be rusty or need the game time, so she came on towards the end as well and nearly scored a goal. So that's what viral meningitis does, apparently. No, but seriously, I hope she's okay. So Spain absolutely dominated, as expected. I know everyone's getting super excited, understandably, about Spain. They're everyone's favourites, but at the end of the day, they were also playing a Portugal who, as Sophie very well put in her match report, that their defence was as holy and porous as Swiss cheese. So your first time getting a Swiss pun in there, and I thought it was a very good one, so well done. But yes, I was very worried I wasn't going to get any photos because all of the goals were down the other end in the first half. It reminded me of France-Italy in the last Euros when it was 5-0 and all the goals scored down the other end. But thankfully, there was a goal in injury time, and I managed to capture something. So that's
And you had premonition.
I did predict it. I tapped the photographer in front of me, and when Spain got the corner, I went, this is the goal, because he'd be complaining we hadn't got anything, and he was like, you think? I was like, yeah. And then the ball went out and he turned to me and was like, where's the goal? I was like, give it a minute. I was like, swing it in, guys. And sure enough, there you go. So I got something. So
but isn't that scary as well? Like 2 substitutes combining off the bench. Salma didn't even start the game.
Yeah.
She comes on and delivers that ball, and then Martin Pietro with that kind of thundering header, and that just kind of shows. I think obviously very, very different. But I think when you're looking at the benches of like Spain and England, that's where they stand a bit apart because they do have that strength and depth.
Absolutely.
To be able to call on different kinds of players when they need to.
Be afraid, guys. Be very afraid. Unless you're Spain fans, in which case, chill. That's Group B. It means Spain obviously are on top, particularly on goal difference. Italy in second with the other two teams, Portugal and Belgium, not picking up any points in match day 2. Match day 2, game 3 and 4. It's probably game 4 and 3 or something weird like that with UEFA. Anyway, that is it for today from day 2. Tomorrow, will you stop predicting my running order? I know what I'm doing. We are making a very long drive to Geneva, which is about 3 hours. We're doing the 6 p.m. kickoff between Denmark and Sweden, which will be a tasty one, no doubt, for many reasons. Germany then are also taking on debutants Poland, which is going to be an exciting game as well. We'll be watching that one in the car on the way home, I think.
And you're very excited not to be in a car park tomorrow night.
Well, yes, we're
very disappointed.
We're probably not going to do it in the car park. We'll do it on our balcony, our indoor balcony, when we get home because, I'd rather get on the road. It is now 12:20. We've got an hour and a half drive back to Zurich, and then we have a 3-hour drive tomorrow for Geneva. So we are going to hit the hay, and we'll chat to you tomorrow.